Mr. Wendell, true, and I graduated in 1952.
All right.
This is my third reunion here in the last 10 or 12 years. The first one I came back to after an absence of about 40-some odd years was in 1985. I came from California, and I'm still in California, so this is a marvelous travel event for me when I come to these things. My family, as I said, moved here about 1945, and so I spent a brief 7 or 8 years here before I went on to college, thanks in part to Mr. Philip Capdeville. Mr. Capdeville, and as you know, in those days, teachers, there was a higher standard of expectation, and it just coincidentally, my father owned a beer bar, and so Mr. Capdeville would come out there and he had his beer there where he knew he would have some privacy. And he encouraged my family to send me to college afterwards, which I did do for a couple of years. There were some other teachers who I remember dearly and hold in great respect and esteem. There was one lady in particular named was Gladys Cheeley who opened her classroom sessions each day with a shrill Valdosta, Georgia accent. Simmer down, roll call. Others that quickly come to mind, of course, would be Fred Marchman. There was a Miss Hafey, who later, I think, died in an automobile crash. But the memories and the diligence that the instructors passed on to us has really influenced my life greatly. And I went on to achieve what I think is a higher standard of living because of what they've done. And growing up in Newport Richey was a marvelous, wonderful experience, and I still rely on a lot of the skills that I learned growing up in this town and my moral values. So I really appreciated the opportunity to come back and revisit and reminisce with classmates and the fondness and the camaraderie that we had. Some of my classmates, I think that the three of us that were very close was Billy Madam and Johnny Norfleet and myself, and I think we perhaps were the nerds of the class. We were more inclined to become involved in photography, chemistry, and those sort of things, and then to enhance our social graces with the ladies. We attempted to do that over and above the muscular football players by doing the announcing at the football games and that sort of thing. But in any event, so I have some real warm memories of Billy Madam and his family, and Johnny Norfleet and his family as well. I'm really pleased to come to these things, and I appreciate all the work and effort that goes into them. I really do. Speaking of Mr. Capdeville, in one parting moment here, Mr. Capdeville would frequently throw erasers or chalk to get your attention. Well, one day he caught me not pitching pennies, but matching pennies, you know. And in lieu of the typical response of throwing the chalk, he grabbed me, took me over to the front window on the second floor, and grabbed me by the ankles and hung me out and shook me and asked me if I was ever going to do that again. And I probably did, but I was more careful about it. And one other incident that I fondly remember, and I think my classmates probably remember it more fondly than I do, was just prior to a class that Mr. Capdeville was going to be conducting. They grabbed me, put me into an oak roll-top desk that used to sit in the far left-hand corner in the science room upstairs, and nailed the door shut, the roll-top shut. So when Mr. Capdeville came in, I heard him come in, and he looked around the room, I suppose, and noticed I was absent, and where's True? Silence. How he knew, I'll never know, because I was obviously in the dark. Next thing I know, the roll-top desk was being rolled up, and the nails extracted and splintering the thing, and I was the one that got chastised. Wanted to know what I was doing in there. I told him, Mr. Capdeville, I didn't nail this thing